On your side at 4, focused on you.
We begin at 4 with a live look at a cloudy and gray downtown St. Louis. After that very long, hot and dry spell, we are expecting rain and much cooler temperatures. Good evening. I'm Brent Solomon.
And I'm Kay Quinn. The rain started already in many places, as Brent mentioned, and it'll begin to feel much more like fall. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell here with the Weather First forecast. Scott?
Has been showing some rain around the area through the course of the day, but for most of us in the metro, we haven't seen a whole lot. The majority of the rain either staying to our west and kind of fizzling as it pushed into town, or is farther down to the south. Looking out into St. Charles right now, and look, there's some break. Kind of settles back down the roads here in St. Charles, where we had some rain earlier and the roads were a little wet. Those conditions have subsequently improved now as the rain shifts east and southeast. Heaviest rain and most widespread rain, if you will, even though it's still fairly light, is down to our south at this point across Reynolds, Iron County. These areas have been pretty dry. In the metro, what we've seen sliding through is more of an annoyance than beneficial rain. It's just sprinkles and spritzes and enough to make you have to use the umbrella. Out to the west, there are some more showers we'll continue to track, but they're moving northeast. Most of us are in the 60s to lower 70s, depending on how thick the cloud cover is in your neighborhood. As we go through the remainder of the evening and overnight, showers will continue to spread in, especially after midnight, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. That'll take us through tomorrow morning's rush hour. Some of us get beneficial rain, and then Sunday early morning, some of us may have a chance for frost. See you in a few minutes, Kay.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Scott. The mayor of St. Louis wants to freeze property taxes for most senior citizens in the city.
That's right. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer explains a state law passed earlier this year might make that happen. Diamond.
Well, Brett and Kay, yes, the Missouri legislator passed Senate Bill 190. It gives each county and St. Louis the choice to enact a property tax freeze for seniors. Already, St. Charles County leaders have said yes. Meanwhile, St. Louis County has said no. At a roundtable discussion today, Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer and Alderwoman Laura Keyes both said they support this idea. The proposed legislation says people who would qualify when they turn 62 years old. It would freeze property taxes for seniors beginning with 2023 levels. Seniors at the roundtable discussed with aldermen about also having an income restriction in addition to the age restriction. Alderwoman Schweitzer addressed people's concerns of the freeze taking property tax money away from public schools and institutions.
What this bill in its current draft is looking at is a version that holds harmless the other taxing districts besides the city of St. Louis, which means that if you have taxes that go towards the museum district, the schools, your special business district in your neighborhood, those taxes will not be affected by this freeze.
Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer says once they've gathered enough input from seniors on proposed legislation, that's when the bill will then be introduced to the Board of Aldermen. The board will then have several hearings on this bill and then go through a final perfection process with the full board and then lastly to the mayor for final passage.
All right, thank you, Diamond. The homeless encampment outside St. Louis City Hall, it is gone today. The mayor's office says dozens of people who'd been living in tents have all been moved to shelters and connected to resources. The makeshift encampment had been on the front lawn for more than a month. City officials say they're enforcing the overnight park curfew since City Hall sits on park ground.
The city of St. Charles will turn on 3 of its offline water wells starting next week. The city installed a new carbon filtration system to process water before it's pumped out to residents. The wells at the Elm Point well field had to be shut down due to contamination that the EPA found originated from an Ameren substation. Ameren has been working to clean up that contamination for months.
Developing today, gridlock in the U.S. House. After the ouster of Kevin McCarthy from the speakership, Republican hopefuls are already jockeying for position to replace him. NBC's Alice Barr shows us how it's all playing out.
Today, the fallout from former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's historic ouster. He's striking an optimistic tone amid the turmoil.
Mr. McCarthy, how are you feeling this morning?
Right. As the candidates line up to replace him, the number 2 in House leadership, Steve Scalise, announcing his run for Speaker, even as he recovers from blood cancer.
And this is really important that we get this right. And that we get back to work.
Conservative firebrand Jim Jordan also seeking the gavel.
I feel like I can unite conservatives
voters across the country and reach out to the moderates in our conference.
North Carolina Republican Patrick McHenry acting as temporary speaker, with House members scheduled to vote on the permanent post as soon as next week. Many are calling for changes to the rules to prevent the next speaker from being handcuffed by the same small far-right faction that kicked McCarthy out of the job, led by Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz.
You're going to have rules in place that prevent him from doing his charade every single week.
One of the 8 Republican rebels defending the move.
We can't have a speaker who surrenders. We need a speaker that fights and negotiates and uses the leverage that we have as the House majority.
President Biden urging House Republicans to act quickly to return to pressing work ahead.
We have to get it done in a timely fashion. More than anything, we need to change the poisonous atmosphere in Washington.
With just over a month to go until the next government shutdown deadline. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now, you don't have to be a member of the House to become Speaker. Some of former President Trump's top allies are suggesting he should get the job. Mr. Trump says he's focused on running for president.
Well, migrants from Texas are flooding into Chicago, and it's starting to strain the city's budget. Now, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is asking the federal government to help.
I would say collectively we're talking about $500 million at least when you add what the city has done and the state has done. So we need reimbursement for those dollars. They promised that.
Pritzker wrote a letter to President Biden asking for better bus coordination, federal staff to help process the migrants, and more money for housing, food, and social services. The White House responded saying House Republicans continue to block immigration reform. The Biden administration has sent $46 million to Chicago in grant funding. City officials say up to 25 buses a day could start arriving in the city in the near future.
Your phone got really loud around 1:20 this afternoon. That's when the federal government tested its emergency alert system used to tell us about emergencies. The National Public Warning System is designed to allow the president to speak to the American people within 10 minutes during a national or regional emergency. More student loans wiped out, the latest move by the Biden administration that forgives federal student loan debt.
Plus, an overwhelming job, the amount of work ahead for crews cleaning the debris left by the wildfire in Hawaii.
And we hope you'll join us for our next Race, Listen, Learn, Live special, Fighting Anti-Semitism. It airs tomorrow at 7 and is sponsored by the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum. A Holocaust survivor shares her story, and you'll hear about the local efforts to fight anti-Semitism. Plus, Mike Bush moderates a panel discussion. It's all tomorrow night, right here on 5 on Your Side. You can also stream it on the 5 Plus app, on Roku and Fire TV.